Good evening, everybody. Welcome back. I took a break last week due to a lot of scheduling issues, but it's good to be back. Hopefully, everybody is as excited as I am to look at what the market has hold. And for those of you who are joining me today for the first time, just know that I host this every Tuesday. We'll try to host it every Tuesday and Thursday at 10 p.m. Eastern time. So if you can, please feel free to share and come join me. And we could talk about the stock market, talk about different trade setups that we see on the different charts. We can look at everything aside from what I normally look at. Right, we can look at stuff that you are interested in also. But just looking at, let's start how we always do by looking at the heat map of what has happened in the market. Okay, so as you can see, today was today. It's pretty red day. I would say it's a red day because we got our information sector, our communication services, customer discretionary. They were all red today, right? But we have our things like healthcare, consumer staples, real estate, utilities, right? These were green today, right? These smaller sectors, right? Smaller sectors to these ones right here that are. So normally when you see information technology, communication services, consumer discretionary, if those three big ones are red, we normally would see that the market will be down, right? It's not anything new, right? So let's dive right into the charts, right? Let's look at SPY. And so before I left off, right, where we left off before, um, I was looking at this channel. And so you can see we broke this channel here, right? We broke this channel here and we've been climbing. So this is probably the first support or sign of support that we've seen, right? See right here, this right here, price went up, saw some resistance here, and it came down, saw some support here. It's been holding this for the last 4 days. So this level right here at 450, the last 4 days. So that's a good sign, right? So that could give us a clue as to what ranges we could be trading, right? We could be trading between the 460 and 450, right? So we are still, the good thing is we're still above this 50 moving day average and above 200, right? So that's a bullish sign. Bullish sign is always something good, right? But we see some support there, so we can draw this. We could we could even start this, right? Start the support level right here, right? And draw this right here, around 450. And we could set this resistance right here. And so being that we could say that this right here is a loading area where we want to load up long position, right? Near 450, long position, and get out when it approaches close to 460, right? And vice versa, right? So that gives us a way to play. So price is close to this right here, beginning of the week. So we could potentially play for the potential of it bouncing to the upside. And that's one, right? With a stop set somewhere down here. Or you could, if you want to wage the bet against it, right? Since it's closer, you can set a stop here, maybe play for the drop here, right? That's another way. multiple ways to play it. So that's on the daily. We've seen some support at 450. It's been holding. So, and with price being above the 50 and the 200, I would be looking to long, right? According to just what I usually follow the 50. If the 50 price is above the 50 to 200 on the monthly, weekly, daily here, it's a bullish sign for me. So I'll be looking for entries, right? So as close to this 50-day moving average as possible for me, and I set a stop below the 50. That's just how I trade, right? If you're just trading resistance, support and resistance, you could trade there, right? How we said earlier, set a stop zone somewhere right below the 150, the 450, and trade it to the upside. Right? Stop here. So potential good long entry, right? Good long entry, I see, right? Let's start down to the hourly just to see what is happening, right? Hourly, we see this right here, bottom here. It could be a double bottom. So double bottom meaning it could shoot up to the upside. That's one potential, right? Double bottom here to the upside. Or if you're thinking that this is making lower highs, right? Lower highs, that this is going to continue to the downside, right? So that's one way to look at it. It's two ways. Another way to look at it. Right? How you play it, it's really up to you, right? For me, since I normally trade off of the daily and I don't go down too far into the hourly or look too much into the hourly, I would probably be likely to just take a long position right here, right? Close to the 50. And it's pretty close to the 50. The 50-day moving average is sitting at what? 445. It's at 450. So $5 off. So pretty good, right? So let's also look at AMD. So AMD is still in this channel, right? We were to extend this even further, right? It's still in this channel. We did break above a little bit right here, but you can see this right here was just a fake breakout and it came back down, right? It's looking like it's holding this for the moment, but I don't know. We don't know if it's going to fall back down. If it's respecting this channel again, more than likely, it's going to break down, right? So meaning you set your stop somewhere up here, right? Above this channel, right? So above that channel is about 115, right? So 115 could be where you get stopped out, and then you play to the downside to get it to be 90, right? So this right here. So stopped out here, right? Your target is here, and your target, right? Target, and then entry somewhere in here, right? Or no, it's right here. So entry 110 would probably be best, but right now it's sitting at 106, so it's not too bad. Yeah, it's not too bad yet. It's $9. $9 stop for about a $14, right? So that's AMD. Still following that channel. We look down to the hourly. You can see the hourly prices below the 50 and the 200 again, right? So this is a bearish sign. Meaning price could continue to trend to the downside, right? And if it continues to trend to the downside, you can see price is in that channel, right? Price is in this channel. So back in this channel. It peaked above it, but it's back into this channel and it could continue downward, right? So the last low was here at 99, right? Just a little bit below 100, or basically at 100. And then the next potential low Could get it to 90. Right? That's one potential. Now, one thing to note about AMD is even though we are in this downward trend, downward channel, right? Price has been staying roughly around the support area. Right? So we did break it below here, but we came right back up, right? And so it's approaching this again. So if this doesn't break, this could be this also could be a false move to the downside too, right? If there is some support here and shoots back up, that's one potential, right? Another potential. So neither, depending on how well you want to play. If you want to take the short side of it, you have a play. If you want to take the long side of it, you have a play, right? Multiple ways to see the market, right? So you can see the one way here. You could take let's say you stop somewhere down here, right? Or better yet, you say you stop somewhere below here, where this is new territory. We have never been down here before, right? So if price comes closer to down here, it could be a place to get shorts, right? Or longs, I mean. So down below 100, so maybe at 99 or 98 or whatever, right? So you stop and try to get a long position closer to here, right? Or if you want to jump the gun, right? Meaning you get into a long position earlier. You set up a stop for the 100, right? Or below 100, a little bit below 100. And you're saying, in that way of thinking, you're saying that as long as price doesn't go below 100, you're going to be in a long position for a potential reversal like this, right? So that's one way to play, right? That's the long way to play. The short way to play is to say stop here and see prices in this channel. You're thinking I could go to 90 again here, right? So from price to here, you're catching this move, and that's your stop, right? This is your stop, right? Your risk on the area, and this is your potential aim. Okay, that's AMD. Let's move to Apple. Look at what Apple's doing. So Apple is also establishing itself above the 50-day moving average, above the 200-day moving average. All bullish signs, right? Bullish signs. So it could come back, right? This you see how price is tightening up right here. So it's showing some support. There's some support right here at 175, and there's some resistance at 180. So right now we're just checking to see which side will fall first, right? If the resistance will break first or the support will break first. Support breaks first, we could see a fall back down and test this as support right here. So this right here could be 160, right? It fall to 160 if support breaks. And if resistance break, we could go even higher. We can go into the 190s, right? It could trend up for another year. Right? So that's how things are for Apple. Apple isn't too interesting on the hourly. You can see this, right? This could be a good load up area if you're playing off of the 200 hourly, right? Still a good, right? Gives you a potential. You see how this last one here played out? Is doing the same thing. You're betting that it stays above the 200. That's it. So you're setting a stop right below the 200, and you're playing for the upside. So this same play here, right? Setting a stop right here and going to the upside, right? Or if you want a momentum short, you set a stop above the 50 and you play to the downside, right? So current price here to the downside. So if it goes above, price goes above the 50 again, you're out of that position. It's a short play, right? So there's one, two positions, right? Two ways to play. Let's take a look at NVIDIA. Now, NVIDIA has had a pretty crazy run too, right? It went from, it broke out of this channel, right? This channel that we've been looking at, broke out of this channel. And remember last time I was live, I said, there's three possibilities that what you should do. And I also said that we should, it's probably better to wait because we have this huge run up. So let's wait. And so right here is probably where your patience is paid off, right? It's good that you have waited because it came back, right? This is the pullback that we were looking for, right? So you can set a stop right here. You get your position right here at what, 260, right? 260, entry at 260, set stop at 250, right? So $10 risk. $10 risk for upside potential to break this resistance over 290, right? So from 260 to 290, that's 30. So $10 risk for a potential $30 gain. That's if it just goes to all high right here, all resistance. If it breaks through that and it goes back to 300, right? You're looking at $4.40, right? So that's right here. That's 4x, 3x here, and that's all. This is a $10 loss, right? Right. So this could be the pullback that we are looking for, right? And in all honesty, nobody knows what it's going to happen. This could continue to the downside, right? We could be wrong that this could be not be support, right? Right here, this could not be support, right? This new zone right here, and it just breaks through and goes back and tests this. That's one potential of many potentials that could happen, right? So maybe I'll mark that, and let me mark that new zone. Let's mark this new zone because it broke out of this zone. It broke out of that trend, and we want to see if this one will hold. Oh. Let's see. Okay. So I want to see if this one will hold. Right. This zone. So this is from about 290, 260, 290. So $30 zone. Right. We want to see if that zone will hold. So if it holds, if this holds, right, we could see a break above this resistance, right? Now, bad news eventually, and hopefully you guys notice, is that bad news, when it initially comes out, the market reacts and then it overreacts. And then there's a return to normalcy, right? Where the bad news doesn't matter as much anymore. It happened with COVID, it happened with the financial crisis, it happened with, basically every crash, right? Bad news doesn't stay around forever. So this could be it, right? Bounce right here to the upside. Now, this is not saying that it can't go below here a little bit. It can, right? It can bleed a little bit through here, right? You can see it could be a false out to the downside. It could go down here, and it goes right back up, and then it stays in here, right? It could do that. Multiple things, right? So that's one way to play. It's good time to add in for long. For short, you might be playing more of a momentum short, right? Meaning you're waiting for this support at 260 to break. And if it breaks, then you get a short and you set a stop just a little bit above 260 for a short stop. And then you just write it down. As you can see there, it's at the 200 hourly. Could be good. Right to the upside here. Right. So as you can see, this is a area we can set a stop at. Right here. And then try to catch it to the upside. Right. That's one way. Or you set a stop right here. And eventually, if it does continue to trend down, right, you'd be the first one to catch it. So long, short position, long position. Explore that. Now let's look at let's see, Tesla. Tesla has been pretty crazy too. Look at that craziness. About a low of 750 straight up to 1150, right? That's pretty crazy. Hey Kong, nice of you to join me tonight. So this is pretty crazy. So one thing to keep in mind is there's a gap here, right? There's a little gap here. So what we want to see when a gap happens is if we want to see if this will hold, right? This gap right here, the support at this gap, right? So meaning it's gonna come. We want to see it do this. If it just comes and bounce here and then goes higher, right? When we see a gap, we want to see it like that. So something like this right here, right? There was a little gap here, right? Or something like that, right? There's a little gap here. It did bleed through a little bit, but it stayed here a little while and then eventually, boom, right? Potentials, right? Ooh. Let's look for more gap areas. So here's a gap here, and it just kept trending. All right, gap here. This is a gap to the downside, and then it went up to test it again, straight down. So gap here, right? There, this is a gap to the upside, and then it just kept going. Stayed there for a little while, then it kept going. So gap to the upside usually just means that it could bleed a little bit, but it could go continue higher. So we'll add the support here. We want to see what it does around the support. This support is a loading area, right? Loading area for Tesla. So right here, 1060, 1050, good pickup for the long side. If you're a long Tesla, right? It says somewhere stop like this, right? Or if you are playing devil's advocate, right? You want to play the short side, and you set a stop here and down here. But this will be a momentum though, a momentum short. So that's how you will play it, right? And no one knows the true outcome. No one will know the true outcome, right? We think we have guesses, but nobody knows for sure, right? You can see here, it's a very strong, very, very strong trend to the upside, right? It's still upper, right? Uptrending stuff always does this, right? Right? Price always uptrending stuff, price moves this direction from the lower left to the upper right, right? Anyone can see it. Right? But you can still play short, right? It's not like you can't, right? Most of the time you have to. So of a short, you could just put it right above 50, right? Your stop is right above the 50 here at 115, and then short here, right? So whatever this right here, well, 1080, 115, right? And then play it to the downside. That's one short, but it has to be a momentum short. And to the upside, which I still think is better, to the upside is here, right? You set a stop right here, then you go to the upside. Right. Okay. Lockheed. Let's look at Lockheed, see what it's doing. It's still holding this pattern. So, meaning it's still sort of to the upside, but it's doing this pendant. Okay. Do you notice? You see this pendant on Lockheed? So, here. So, meaning it's probably going to fall down to here. And then we're waiting to see which side it chooses. If it chooses this side or that side. Okay. So, it's getting pretty tight. The price move here is almost done. Okay. So when the pendant shape like this, we're basically just waiting. Right? There, there's not going to be too much profit to the upside or downside for a while until it breaks out. Okay, the true breakout is where you're looking for. Okay, um, and this is where you're going to have an explosion, right? So just based off what has happened in the past 3 months, I would play the upside, right, of that pendant, right? Just you're playing the odds, right? You're playing what has happened before. Not so much guessing that it's gonna go to the downside, more that it's gonna go to the upside, right? And when it comes back here, right, that means you're loading. When it touches the bottom support here, you're loading, and you put the potential to for it to blast off, right? So that's how I keyed. That's how I would play it. Well, you can play it to the short side too, right? If it touches back up here, you set a stop and then boom, down. Right. Both are equally able to happen, just based upon what your risk management is and what you feel comfortable taking. Right. There's no wrong way to play it. The only wrong way to play it is to just play it randomly without like doing this research, without knowing which side that you're gonna pick, and then winning the trade and not learning why, right? Or not doing your risk management and winning the trade. You win big, but then it's always like a bomb, right? Waiting to tick, waiting to blow up, right? Ticking, waiting to blow up. So okay, so on the hourly, you can see, it's sort of dead. This is what happens when it's in a pendant, right? Pendant shape, it just goes a little up to the upside, downside, and you can see it from the technicals too, right? The technicals show it. The 50 is going to be going and above the 200, and then it's going to go below, up and above, and it's going to keep doing that until it eventually just picks a side, right? But me personally, I will be playing the upside just because we had a run like this since the beginning of the year. I would, just go with the trend that it will go to the upside more. Right now, I had some crazy news this morning, and the last stock that we're going to look at tonight is Twitter. I heard some crazy news, right? That Elon Musk, the troll master, Tesla CEO, bought some Twitter, bought a huge sum of Twitter. You can see that it basically moved the stock, huge gap, right? $5 gap, so a huge gap, right? So nobody knew it was coming. It just came out of the blue, right? But I say don't fear what has already happened, right? It's already happened. Nobody, if you weren't in there already down here and now you're trying to catch it, wait for it to set a base. Right? Don't be afraid of being late because, if this thing continues to run for the next year, who cares if you get it at 50 versus getting it at 35? The only people who do, they probably uh, aren't even interested in how you formulate your trades, right? So wait for this to base out. Like for an example, we go back to Nvidia, right? Huge blast off right here. If you rush in right here, you would probably have to wait another few weeks for it to get in, right, at the very top, or here in this area, right? You would have made out okay here, but if you got in like here, right, you fed into the FOMO and it drops, right? Would probably another few weeks before you break even and then make some money, right? So wait for the same thing to happen. That gap up is just basically like this, right? So to reiterate, since price has done this huge gap up, we want this level to hold, right? This level right here at 40, 45 here to hold. So we want price to sort of do this, right? We come back down to here, right? If we're lucky and it comes back down like this before it goes off, right? This area is where you want to get in, close to 45 as possible. If not, and it keeps taking off, you just let it keep taking off, because eventually it'll keep taking off and then it'll come back down. It'll dip down, right? Nothing goes up forever. It'll dip down. And when it dips down, then the next level that it dips down is your chance to enter. Because when it dips down like this, you have an area where you can set a stop, right? That makes sense to set a stop. Because if you enter in here, where are you gonna set a stop? Like right here? What if it reverses, right? Or are you gonna set it down here if you want to stay in here really long? And you don't have a clue. So wait for it to make a support base first, right? Don't be so FOMO, right? Don't get the fear of missing out this opportunity, because if it is an opportunity, it'll be an opportunity for number of years to come, number of weeks, number of months to come. So just wait it out, right? And guarantee you it will come back. Like even here, right? If you were scared that you missed the drop here, right? You see here, it sort of level out right here, right? If you saw it level out like this, maybe it was a time for you to take a shot at it, right? If you think you missed this one, this right here was showing you, hey, you may be this potential for another drop, right? So you just gotta look for those areas, right? This is just the start of it. It's not the end. So wait for it. Wait for it to mellow out, right? Do something to level out like this. That's where you're gonna get in, right? And to be a trader, you have to be patient, right? So just wait for it, watch it. If this is a good potential, it'll continue to be a good potential. Don't be scared of missing out on an opportunity. All right. With that being said, I'm gonna just close it out. Thanks for everybody for joining me tonight. Hopefully, you guys are staying safe. And the market is pretty crazy. So that's why whenever you analyze the market, don't just analyze it one way. Look at all the potential plays that you have before you stick to one, and then think about the likelihood of one of those plays playing out in your favor, and just go with the play that is has a high potential for you, right? So with that, I'm gonna close it. But remember, I host these sessions every Tuesday and Thursday evening at 10 p.m. Eastern. Given that there's no conflict in my schedule, so thank you everybody. I'll just end it here. Have a good night.